Hello, I'm Juliette Sear and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make some really cute Easter chick cake pops, and they're really easy to do. I've just made a chocolate cake, so I've used a nice and rich one. It's got plain chocolate, some golden caster sugar. I do prefer the unrefined caster sugar. It's got a much richer caramelly taste, so much better for your baking. Also some Nielsen Massey vanilla extract in there. Do use a really good extract, don't use essence, it's just not the same. They're really great. You can get 24 servings out of that bottle, and also some self-raising flour and some butter and eggs, so really simple. So I've got my pre-baked cake, and what I've done, I've just put it in the food processor and given it a bit of a whiz just to kind of crumble it up. But if you haven't got a food processor, just do it by hand and just kind of mush it up so it's nice and malleable. So I'm just going to take some chocolate cake, just kind of about a large walnut size is kind of good. So first of all, just make sure you really squeeze it together. And once you've impacted the cake together, just give it a roll between your palms. So I've just got a nice little chocolate cake ball like that. So just make a few balls. You can do as many as you want. You know, they're really great to give away for presents for Easter. I love these, or, you know, quite fun to do with kids as well. It's quite messy, but it's good mess. Right, so now I'm just going to go and wash my hands before I handle these because I don't want to get the sticks all dirty. So yeah, wash your hands and then we can stick them on with our melted chocolate. Okay, so I've washed my hands, so now I can get to making my cake pops. So I've just got some lolly sticks, they're quite easy to get hold of, and I've got some melted plain chocolate. So just dip that into the chocolate, so it's gonna be like edible glue, and just plunge that into your cake ball, just over halfway. If you find they're a bit dry, you can kind of just hold them, but if you think they're gonna crack open, it's a really good idea to twist it. Just twist it round as you put it in. So just over halfway into each of the balls. It is best to use some chocolate because you don't want them falling off when you start to add the candy coating. There we go, so simple as that. So now I'm just going to put these in the freezer for about 20 minutes, or in the fridge for an hour is good, so they're set nice and fast before I dip them. Okay, so I've got my cake pops, they're nice and set. So now's the fun bit. I really like doing this. The fun part is dipping it. So I'm just using some coloured candy melts, really easy to work with. Sometimes you just need to add a little bit of vegetable oil. You want a kind of nice consistency that you can see. So it's kind of fairly runny, but not too runny that will just slide off. So just have a play about with it. I've also got a bit of polystyrene here. It's a handy tip for when you're trying to set them. So any bit of old polystyrene packaging is fine. Just something to hold them in is a good idea. So I'm just going to take my first cake pop. Sometimes you need to double dip them, especially if you've got quite a dark chocolate cake underneath. So I'm just going to plunge this in, just using a spoon. Just encourage the candy coating all the way on top, just uncovering the stick, and just tap that gently on the side of the bowl, just to get off all the excess, because you don't want any bits kind of dripping down the stick too much. And that's why I put them in the freezer, because I didn't really want them to fall off into the candy melts, because that will happen if you don't chill them well. So you'll see that it's nice and cold, it's already started to set. So once I've got a nice smooth coating on there, I'm just going to pop it into my poly and just continue with that. So these will set really quickly. And what you might find is you get the odd little hairline crack in these when you've just first of all added your first coating. Don't worry too much, because it's always a good idea to double dip them so they look nice and neat. So as you can see, this one's already completely set solid. So I can just give that another coating, and that's just going to give it a really nice strong colour to work with. There we go. So now they're all set, I can just go straight on to decorating them and giving them a bit of personality. So I'm just going to go and get my sugar paste and my colouring, and we can turn them into little chicks. Okay, so I'm going to make the wings for the little chicks. So whenever you're doing anything kind of novelty modelling, if you're doing a pair of legs, pair of arms, pair of wings, start with one piece and divide it in two, because you kind of want it to be equal. So they're going to have little tiny chick wings. We don't need a lot, so just a small amount, kind of a large pea size. Divide it in two and just make it into two kind of little balls, really. It's the simplest way to do it. And just flattening those a tiny bit, just all kind of like modelling by hand. It's really easy. It's like edible Play-Doh, really. So I'm going to take one of my chicks, and using a little bit of the melted candy coating, just dab a tiny bit on the top of each wing, because I just want that to stick to the body. Again, if you don't have any of that to hand, you could always use a little bit of icing. So now I'm just going to place one on either side. So just kind of like that. Just push them in and then just kind of hug them into the body and just flick them out a bit so it looks like it's kind of going to fly away. So that's the wings. And then for the beak and the feet, I'm just going to use a little bit of the orange. So a tiny, tiny bit for the beak. So just roll it into a ball. And I'm just going to again use a tiny bit of the candy coating. There we go. And just pop that on the front. Try and get it in the middle. There we go. And they look quite cute. Obviously, given it's the fun thing about doing this kind of thing. You can give them different personalities. So I'm just going to use a sharp knife and just open his beak there just to make him like chirping. But you could do them all differently, really. Okay, so now I'm just going to add the feet. So for my feet, I'm going to take a small bit of orange, bit of icing sugar, roll it out fairly thinly. And I'm just going to take one of these little flowery cutters because they look quite cute. It's a little blossom cutter. But if you don't have one of these, you could just use a couple of small balls. So just pop those out onto the surface. There we go. And quite tiny. Just add a tiny bit of candy coating. I'm just going to add this to the actual cake pop rather than trying to handle the small bits of sugar paste. And just pop them on. 1, 2. So now I'm just going to put the eyes on. So just a tiny bit of black paste colour. Again, if you don't have this, just any icing will do, or even a bit of, if you have some black sugar paste, you can make a tiny ball. And I'm just going to paint either side of the beak, just 2 little dots. So they're all ready. So there you have the Easter chick cake pops.